Good afternoon, traders, and welcome to another edition of Awesomecallstrading.com. I am AJ, one of the moderators in this great, incredible room. I want to welcome you to our recap for today. Dow was down about 200 points when we walked in, but we did very, very well. We had nice trades selected. Also played solely was one of our premier trades right out of the gate. Right now, we're looking at ELTK. B Trades and myself found this morning on an earnings play. He mentioned it was a former runner. Once it broke through this three spot, I was looking for 360 at the opening, and then if it pulled on lower lows, I was looking for a gap fill. But if it continued to pop, we were going to run the stock, and sure enough, we're looking for 895. You have to go back 3 years on this trade, and you could see the 895 we're trying to touch today based off the earnings. Keep in mind this stock was about a buck 50 yesterday, so it's having a hell of a run right now. And anyway, I got back in the room and I did walk it up right here from I believe it was 720, 730, or what is it, 760, and I ran it to 850. I'm looking for it to break to 840 while I'm on the webinar, and then hopefully run to 9 and everyone can get out. That's the objective there. I also came in the chat room. I did chase a little bit of Soli here. I took a little bit of size. I pushed it. I was able to push it, and I made 300. Let me tell you exact number I made on that one. $374 on this push right here from I think there was 22.47, and I nailed it all the way up here to about $24 or more. Stock went out more than that. Nice scalp trade when I walked into the chat room. Market was pulling. The great dark side was able to make sure and navigate everyone, as well as fired on the big stocks like Boeing on the downside. SPY was pulling. I did call ANET to 245 today. Stock hit 245.90. I've called Boeing to 245, 345, and the stock is 346 right now. And these were some of the nice calls that we did today in our room. Soli, ELTK, ANF, Cara, DKS, Goose, Ramp, YY, HEI, Boeing, and that Tesla. One of the reasons why, I am the type of trader that likes to trade the news. And I look for the gap ups, the gap downs. I look for range every morning, and I always look for the reasons why the stock is either gapping up or gapping down. So this way I can guide the trader into profitability. And what I mean by that is when I look at a stock like an earnings play or the market's down 200, I know how to trade that market on that stock. Now I can trade the apples. I could even trade SPY if I really wanted to focus. But I'd rather go after stocks like ANET and Tesla and Boeing and you know, and just if the market's pulling, I know that I'm going to get a small pop and then a nice fade as the market accelerates to the downside. It's pretty easy to do, to be honest with you. There's really not too hard if you've been trading for a couple of years. It's pretty easy to understand that philosophy. But what I do is I want to go after the earnings plays. I want to go after the squeezes. I want to go after things that are gapping up 6-7 points on an earnings play, like HEI today. None of you even will ever trade HEI, but it was on our list. And the Great Fire just absolutely devastated his stock. I mean, he killed it on his long. But for me, Ricky Trader in our room used to be a huge moderator in another room. He nailed this one too. I think he had 1,300 shares long, and he was in at 111. And HEI is just a perfect example of what Awesome Calls is all about. I mean, this is a stock. I just want you to look at HEI and to see why we play this kind of play. You see how it pushed up after hours? This is an earnings play. You have to read the report. All right. Now remember ELTK. Remember. All right. Mike, 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 Mike. Are you happy? Are you happy? Say yes. I'm happy. Mike is he was red today. and he needs me to get him to $9 a share so he can be super happy. And right now he has 1,000 shares and he just popped another 500 more dollars. Remember I said in the webinar the stock's going to go through 9, and that's what we're looking. Now, your room is not playing this right now. And the reason is because your mods are either talking about food or a party or a pizza party or how to nail the death zone or the fat finger zone or the middle finger zone. They won't trade this. In here, we have trades all the time. So a trader can make thousands of dollars throughout the day. All right. When I got in the room, I started in at around $7.20. Look at the stock now, 872. You see that? So literally, if you were in here and you were bored, you could simply make, even if you took 500 shares when I walked into the room, you probably would have made $400. And it only costs $6 a day to be in this room. That's it. $6. Okay. Anyway, yes, Adam. Did you score on that? Tesla moving around? Yeah, I saw that. It was Fat Finger Pop. Uh, an investor came in and bought a fat finger. This is what a fat finger looks like. It's when it's a market order and he does a big chunk. See that? 100,000 shares and 200. So he bought a fat finger, about 350,000 shares on an open market. It causes a fat finger. And then it just comes right back down. It's because there was only so much stock available. And so by the time he hit the market order, this is all he could get. And each market maker filled what he had. You follow me? So he was trying to get this 188, and he ends up getting around, what, 189 average, and now it pulls right back down to where it should go. That's what you call a fat finger. Cool? Okay, so let's go back to work. So HEI was an earnings play. So the call on the trade today was, I risked 300, made 50 on ELTK. So Ollie, you're over 100 plus. How much are you up today? And I want you to stop trading for the rest of the day. No more trades, Ollie. Are you up 100, $150? So you may want to redo your webinar or a recap webinar. So if you want, because that's incredible. I'm really proud of you. And so HEI had earnings and they were pretty impressive. They had a nice and beat. I was really happy with it. I figured the stock would pop at the open to 115 to 117 and then pull about 6 points to the downside, bottom curl, and then we would have a nice slow move to the upside. Okay, I just needed the bottom curl to come into effect, and then we could walk it up. And Fire Trader Brad was all over this morning. This is one of his top plays he wanted to play, and he played it very, 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 very well. Anyway, here is the call in the morning. Pop at the open to 115. As you can see, it hit 14.98. So I apologize for being 2 cents off. Here's the change. And then I said would pull 6 points. Here's the pull. There's 110. So it pulled 5. You can see the bottom curl. They held it pretty hard at a 111 area. I went long this morning with Ricky the Trader and the great Fire. And I was able to I traded it 3 times on this move to the upside. And I closed it out around 113 and under. Ricky stayed a little bit longer. I think he made 6,000 on this trade. And then the great Fire, he continued to play it and just took pieces on the way up. When he took the mic, when I went on break, he even had this going even higher I forgot what he said. I think he said 116, 117, and he nailed it. So congratulations to a great trader. Well performed, well done. Next trade we had on our books, and the reason for it was because earnings were really good. It didn't matter what the market was doing. This had nothing to do with the market. This was solely the trade itself. All right. Mike Hahn, I got shaken out on that. Yeah, so I should have went with ELTK, boss. And Hahn, you should have played when I played it and been done with it. Did you notice I don't go back in there? You were playing it, hoping it would go up higher. For me, I don't do that. Once I'm done with it, I'm done with it. All right. I don't chase things like that. Once I'm finished, I don't go back in it. So there's no reason for me. It showed me no reason to go back in that trade. Even right here, I didn't want to get in it. You see how it was topping? That's a no-no. And then you're going to get the pull. I'll get in there when I get a flag breakout like that. And I'll spot those breakouts and I'll go long, make my money, get out. I don't look at it again. Okay. Next trade we had on our desk was Soli. Soli was a great call today. Now, I really want you to pay attention to how we called Soli. Soli, I really wanted uh, the stock uh, to hit the 22 area. When it hit 22, I told the traders the stock will fly through 25. Now, I didn't anticipate 29, but I did anticipate the 25 area or more. So what I did is I had my my trigger ready. I had my amount of shares ready to go, and all I wanted was just that 22 area. Once I saw that, I clicked it and I just hit it long on a market order. And believe me, you could chase this stock and get massive fills because once it goes and once it flies, the stock has a mind of its own. And the reason why I said watch the 22 area is yesterday after pre-market, as you can see clearly, the stock peaked around that 2206, 2208 area. You see it? So in pre-market, it just hit just under 22. So I told the entire chat room, do not long the stock. Do not long the stock unless it breaks 22 at the open. So as you can see when the market opened, ding, 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 ding. And why? Because I knew once it pushed 22, shorts were going to come in there and squeeze the shit out of the trade, which would have enabled all of us to chase it and go long. Okay? This was written down. This was scaled in. This was told. This was put in writing. This was guided. This was coached. All right. And if you were in our room today, you would have made from 22 to at least 25 or 26 or 27, 3 to 5 points in a matter of minutes and would have been done. How do I know that? Here's some of the traders in our room that are on Twitter that are in our room that are proud to be in our room. And I'll just tell you, I could scroll through the morning tweets, um, and I'll just kind of just in the pre-market morning. And you wonder why we get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of reviews a day? It's things like this. I mean, here's Noel. Look at Noel. He scored on Cara, Goose, and it's and $1,400 on Soli. You see that? Come down a little bit more. All right. Ollie scored on it as well. But look at Greg, or Daniel. Look at Daniel. $2,271. All right. My man AP on Soli. Look at that. Look where he bought Soli. Look where he bought Soli. 2170. Look where he started to sell Soli. 22, 2288, 2273. Then he got in there again at 27 and he sold it at 2860. You see that? He was being coached when to get in, when to get out. He was ready. This is what we do. I'm right beside you the whole way. I won't leave you. All right? My job is to help you make money, to see the play. And if you're too scared or too nervous, that's where I come in again. My job is to help you. Right? In day trading, you have a lot of things, a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety, a lot of things that you question yourself. Am I right? Because unfortunately, in our world, when you pull that trigger in your head, for some sole reason, in your head, you've already told yourself you're wrong. I'm going to lose on this trade. Your mind is already set. And in our room, in Awesome Calls Trading, around Fire, Dark Side, Gianni, Dave the Trader, B Trades, Palmer, Raphael. I have no fear. If you see, and you'll see me make the trades live. Sometimes I'm wrong, and you'll hear me. Damn, got shaken out on that one. Flip it over, go to another trade. Okay, I lost on this, made money here, made money here. Okay, I'm gonna make another trade. And it's really important that you need to be transparent with your people in the room. You've got to tell them if you're in the trade, not after the fact. It doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. You want to be right 99% of the time. Who doesn't? But you're a trader. You can't always be perfect. But if you're 80 to 90% accurate, I want to trade with that guy because that person I'm comfortable with because I know that even if he misses here, 9 times out of 10, he's going to nail another one. And that's the guy I want to be with. All right. And it's all live. There's nothing to hide in here. It's all transparent. This is my entry. You see the flow. You see the tape. It's there. All right. It's up to you now to come in and just execute the trade. Here's another trade we did today. I want you to take a look at YY. This was a really solid winner. I took this trade this morning in the room and I chased it because I was with on solely. And so YY, I came in and I read the earnings report. Now, one thing you have to understand in day trading, when an earnings report is better than investors thought, you're going to get a squeeze at the open regardless of how much it's gapped up. You need to understand that. Now, nobody will teach you this unless you're in Awesomecalls Trading. And if somebody's trying to teach you this, it's because it came from our room. And 9 times out of 10, if you ask the mod, hey, how did you learn that? He'll just like, oh, uh, yeah, I just learned it. No. How the fuck did you learn it? Just ask the guy straight up. What room taught you this? If he says you self-taught, fire him. All right? Because they all got taught in here. It's just the way it rolls. All right? So YY was a perfect setup. So if you look at my notes, my pre-market notes written up live in front of all the traders in here, I wrote YY right here. YY. Watch for a pop at open to 70. And then if it pulls at all towards 65, long it, but the stock should hit 70. And then look for a 3 to 5 point to the downside. You see that? It closed at 63.93. It's sitting at 66 this morning. I'm telling you the stock's going to go to 70 and then fade towards 65 or 3 to 5 points to the downside. But I also made it clear that don't worry if it hits 65, the stock will pop. Don't get scared if it pulls. The stock will hit 70 and then pull 3 points. Okay, so what's that? The stock hits 70, that means the stock's going to come down to 67 and under, right? Right? Just do the math. Well, the man says if it hits 67, it's going to go to 70 and he's going to pull 3 points. All right, now take a look. Are you ready? Ding, 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 ding. Didn't I say it would go to 70? It hit 69.88. Now count the points. 70 minus 3 is what? 67. Guess what it hit? 67. A professional day trader. Not some amateur, a professional day trader. So a professional trader like a Mark Skies can come in here and go, okay, I see it too. Bam. Puts his lines up, puts his EMAs, his VWAPs, puts it at 70.06. Hey, I'm good with that. I see it too. Bam. Takes 600 shares, pops it a point and a half, makes 900 for the day, and then shorts 200 shares to the downside. And if you watch his video, he even said, I only did one trade today because that's all I needed to do. All right. Next trade we did was Dick's Sporting Goods. Now, I love Dick's Sporting Goods, and this turned out to be a wonderful short. In this morning's call, I wanted to short if it popped to 38. Now, in pre-market, it already had done that, but it was too early in the morning. So I figured that I didn't mind people shorting in pre-market the 37 area, which was about right here, but I really wanted another quick pop to 38, and then I wanted to take it down. My initial idea was it would come down to $35 and then pop. Okay, and I'll show you my call. I'll show you how I wrote it up. Dick's Sporting Goods. This is, I like to see a pop at open. You see the 38 area? And then I want to pull it down to 35. See the 35? Let this set up. I figured shorts will probably try to squeeze it and then come down towards 35. And you know what? For the most part, I was right. But here's the clincher. So here's the pop. It didn't really even pop that I wanted, but it pulled to guess what? Guess where it is? Guess where it hit? That's right, 35 a share. You see that? It's unbelievable shit. And then it popped right back, right? But then the conference call came. Now, we don't know what he or she is saying, but if he or she is saying negative stuff, the stock is going to do this. Slam. And that's exactly what happened. So it became a really nice short to the downside once the conference call started. Once it broke this area here, this 35.50, it just snapped. So a lot of traders were shorting the stock. Another great call that we did today was ANET. And I pulled ANET. I have a gentleman named Richard in the room. He likes these kind of trades. And when the market's pulling down 200, I like ANET to always flush out. And so ANET, I had the stock going to at the open to 252. I'm sorry, to two. No, right here. There it is. I had the stock going to 252, and then a sell off to 245. And you could see my notes were really clear on that ANET because the market would sell off today. So I put on here, I want the stock to go to 252 and then look for a nice 6 point or more fade off to 245 to 247. So I'm telling you in writing, the stock is going to fade. Don't get scared. Let it fade. Okay. And so that was the call on ANET. 252. As you can see, I missed it by 29 cents. And I said it would come down to 245. And there's 245.77. Okay. And that's ANET. All right. I'll give you one more. Then we'll call it a day. Cara. All right. Now, Cara, this was this one you had to be patient. You had to be patient. You had a big gap here on a phase 3. But I also felt that um, this would uh, come down some, but I wanted to get to 22 first. This 22 number in pre-market where it hit, I thought, you know what? I like to see it pop towards that 22 again, and then I want to shove it up, sell it off to $19 and under. The problem I'm having is once the market makers kind of put a halt on here. See that? They stopped it right there. There was just no ands, ifs, or buts. And once they did that, that told me that they're going to keep it up most of the day. And the reason why they want to do that is because you will see in the next 48 to 72 hours, CAR will do an offering to complete their phase 3 and try to get FDA approval. And that's why they're holding it. And how did I know that? Well, if you go to, and these are things you can spot out as a pro trader, because in the room, this is what we do. The minute what happens is the minute you get a raise, you see this raise here from Needham and Stifle. All right, these are probably going to be the book runners in Concord. You see how they're all raising it to 35, Needham, and they did this an hour or two after the news and after the market opened. And the reason is because they want to do an offering. So they need these particular underwriters to keep the stock up. Otherwise, it would just sell off and gap fill. And this is why they keep it up. This way, when they do their offering, they can take, let's just say they did 15 million shares today on their phase 3. They can go in and pull 5 million shares at 20 and put $100 million in the bank. And these guys make, I think, 15, 20% or 8 or 10% of the money. And that's why they do it. But you have to know that. So the call on this was simple. Pop it to open towards 22, scale in short, and take it down. But you can't fight it if it's going to hold right there. If it doesn't break, then you got to just cover and move on. And that was the car trade. All right. So 22 to 1980. All right. And I just, let's see. I do want to give credit to ELTK. Originally, when I wrote this up, I really wanted the stock to, it had traded pretty thin before. I'll show you the last 5 days. You see how it was a lot of bag holders. So I figured I read the earnings report, and so my first initial reaction was I'm going to get a pop at open to 360, and that's what I wrote. And I said, watch the pop at open to 360 right here. You see 360 plus, and then possibly a slow fader and gap fill to the 210 area and under. If it pulls to 210 and under, cover, and then bottom curl it and go long. But what was interesting is, and it's because it closed at a buck 64. But what was interesting is once it hit the 360, there was no coming down. And so what I was able to do was, and alongside B trades in the room myself, we saw this just breaking out to higher. So we just started walking it up, and we did, regardless of what I really wanted. And you could see in the morning, the lower lows were starting to set in. And then when it curled here, right there, I said, okay, now watch the 360 pop. And once it hit here, you could see the volume here. That's 650,000 share buyer. There was no looking back on the stock. And so at that point, then I had to go back 3 years. And then I told the traders, pull back 3 years, see where it hit before, and 895 was the target. And what we did, we started lining it up like we always do. Okay, so we want to hit the target here, 593, 583, pop it to 731, and then 895. And you can see we came pretty close, $8.72. Okay, so not bad. From a $1 stock to $8, we did pretty good. This was a combination between B Trades and myself. He did make a note. It was a formal runner, and a formal runner looks like this, where it pops and fades, pops and fades, pops and fades. And you know what? This will come down on a nice short in the next couple of days, but right now it's in play to try to take out. And we came really damn close to that 895 area right there. So I was really proud of this call today. And so what didn't really work in closing was we wanted ANF to kind of rebound a little bit. It didn't work. It ended up just selling off. I think it's really cheap down here at 18 bucks. And the other one that didn't really work as much as I wanted to was Goose. It worked initially. I had a long going out of the gate to 43 and then a short. And I thought the short would probably be 38, 39. I did tell traders in the morning pre-market to long it, and I was looking for 43, and it ended up just stopping on a dime at 42, and it just died. So it didn't really do what I wanted. So I can only take 50% credit for it because it ended up selling out. I do like this 35 area as a buying opportunity though. So if you're ever in a swing idea, this would be a good one on a nice recovery back to 37 on possibly an overnight. So okay, and those are our trades today. Some of them, the Great Dark Side, Janny, all of them had different ideas, but for the most part, we went off the list. Did very good. Soldi was our number one stock out of the room. And that's about it. So I want to thank you for joining us to Awesome Calls Trading. I hope that you learned and watched a little bit of what we do inside this great room. Got a lot of talent in here, and I want to welcome the 5 new subscribers that came in last night. I hope that we earned your business today, and we look forward to trading with you tomorrow. All right, take care, be well, and thank you for a wonderful